Hi, I'm Shannon Mahoney. I am the oldest daughter of Bill and Therese Mahoney, and I want to take a moment to tell you a little bit about the Bill and Therese Mahoney story. They met around 1950, I believe, at a dance. And as Dad would say, he spotted this most beautiful girl across the room, but what he really noticed was her most gorgeous legs. He made his way across the room, he asked her to dance, and she said yes. And oh, how they danced. They loved to dance. Dad would tell stories after story about how he loved dancing with Mom. At the end of the dance, he asked her if he could take her home, and she said yes. When he brought her home, he asked her if he could see her again, and she said yes. And all in all, it was a pretty good night for Dad. About a year, they dated for about a year or so. They got engaged on September 18th, 1951. It was Mom's birthday, and he came over and he gave her this most beautiful, beautiful corsage. And in the corsage was a diamond ring. He asked her to marry him, and she said yes. They got married October 11th, 1952, at St. Mel's Church at 11:30 in the morning. Uncle Joe was best man, and Aunt Anita was the bridesmaid. After the wedding, they had a luncheon for the family, and then Mom went home with Muddy, and Dad went home with Grandma and Grandpa, which I always thought was kind of funny. But then they met up again in the evening for their reception. Mom wore Helene's dress, which she was not too crazy about, but Dad had a morning suit for the wedding in the morning and their traditional tuxedo in the evening. So Dad was always dressed to the nines. They've had 8 children. Are you telling me to stop? They had 8 children, 5 boys and 3 girls. Billy is the oldest, Jimmy, Michael, Brian, and Kevin, and then myself, Judy, and Maureen. Both Jimmy and Michael lived very short lives. Michael lived only 36 hours. He was quite premature. And baby Jimmy lived until he was 7. He had some issues, and God took him home in October of 1963. Even though they were gone, they were still very, very important people in our lives. We talked about them all the time. They were still our brothers, even though they weren't there. We talked about what they would look like, how old they would be, what they would be doing if they were still with us. They were so important to us that when Bill and Ma were having a baby, it was really important to them to name him Michael James after baby Jimmy and Michael. Growing up, we lived on Summerdale in St. Eugene's, and then we moved to Birchwood Avenue in St. Juliana Parish, which we stayed. We had that house up until the time Dad passed away. We grew up in a home that was filled with lots of love and just all around good times. We had, as Mom and Dad would explain their relationship, not only did they love each other, they were in love with each other. They were best friends, and they were soulmates. And they gave us so many beautiful traditions and family values that we just have carried on through the rest of our lives. We truly believe that you were always loved, that no matter what you could do, you always had their love, and you knew you could come home to them. There was never, you might disappoint them, but you could never lose their love, which was a nice way to have to grow up and know. We also had a lot of family traditions internally too. Sunday dinner was extremely important. Roast beef and mashed potatoes, as well as the hot fudge sundae for dessert. But even during the week, dinners were just important. If you didn't happen to be home, that was rare, but typically we were all around the table. Dad always made it a point of going to each one of us to ask, what was your day like? What happened at school? What did you learn? And we all had our individual moment with Dad, and you had your special time in the sun. We also would play quizzes and math quizzes or history quizzes, which Judy wasn't particularly crazy about. We also would play silly games at the kitchen table as well, like pass the spoon, which kind of was a disgusting game, but we truly just enjoyed each other and having lots of fun together. But bigger than that, outside of our family, which is how we would define family. It was never just Mom and Dad and your brothers and sisters. it was your aunts and your uncles and your grandparents and your cousins. And as time has gone on, it's become your cousin's children and your cousin's children's children. We're a family that is unique, I think, in that way. So many people, I think, as Maureen has probably stated, are surprised by the fact that when we talk of family, we talk about an extended family, and we don't think of them as an extended family. Even to even define family even further for us, we're always there for each other. When it's good times or bad times, we're there to welcome in a new life. We're there to say goodbye when we lose somebody. We're always together, sharing the joys and the sorrows with each other. When someone enters into our family for the first time through marriage, our family just doesn't grow by one, our family grows by many, because their family becomes our family as well. I think that's what makes us unique and makes us very, very special.